Good morning, Bears. This is the week of 1029. Going to go over our Knott's notes. Today's, I'd like to talk to you guys a little bit about our walkthrough data for the first quarter. You guys should have received it in the Bear brief, so I'm going to go into it a little bit here and kind of try to connect it to what we've been talking about in our PD sessions, and that is our RISE focus for this year, the theme RISE as it connects to the MUHSD must-haves, and our vision for readiness for school. So let's dive right into this. This is the first data set I'd like to talk about. This is the measurable learning target or learning objective, which connects directly to the R in RISE, which is the relevant piece of education. So you can see there we've got a 58.2%. That is, again, over the quarter. One other interesting way I thought I'd look at this, though, is to kind of see how we did week to week, and you can see we're a little bit inconsistent with our use of learning targets. So that's something we need to really work on. It looks like we did get actually pretty strong with it at the end of the quarter. We got much better at it, but we started off very inconsistent. So great job on the improvement near the last couple of weeks of the quarter, but let's make sure we try to maintain an upward arc on that one, please. The second thing would be our regular CFUs aligned with our learning targets. That's the I in RISE and in the intentional planning of our lessons. That goes on also with our DOK levels. With planned CFUs, you can see our count there was at 57.1% that we observed that when we were doing walkthroughs in class. That is kind of regular CFUs at intervals in classes, and also reaching a DOK2 level. Again, you can see our kind of fluctuation in that with improvement somewhat near the end of the quarter, but we definitely want to make sure that we are intentionally planning, checking for understanding activities for our students as we go throughout the course of the lesson to make sure that they are sticking with us and making progress toward that learning target. That also applies even on days where you guys are just having the kids work on something. We should still be checking in with them through the course of the period to make sure they're still making adequate progress towards whatever the target is for the day. The next one would be closure, again related to the I as well. There's some intentionality in making sure at the end of the lesson that the kids did make the type of progress that you want for them towards the learning target or the goal or the objective for the day. And it also relates to reaching a level of DOK that we wish for them. It could also be a level of reflection that we want them to do on their own learning. It could be any of those things, but there should be some closure as a final assessment for the day moving forward. And we are not seeing that as often as we would like to, or as we need to for the sake of our kids and their learning. So you can see there it's only at 40.5% so far in the first quarter. So it's definitely something we need to improve on. You can see the graph there. We did have 1 week where we spiked really high, but we kind of struggled with that for most of the quarter with improvement these last couple weeks. The next one would be just the DOK level. This has been the focus this year. Deeper learning has been the focus across the district. No different here, obviously. Also, again, related to that I in RISE, the intentional nature of how we plan. And you guys have actually been doing a really good job of improving on that. You'll see here with the graph that we did spike near the end of this quarter with improvement. But you can see there over the quarter, it was, what is that, about 53% or so, 51, 52%. But if you look at the end of the quarter, we were trending in the correct direction, really pushing our kids in their level of thinking in class. I think this last week was our highest week yet. I think we were up over 70% of our walkthroughs. We saw at least DOK 2 or higher, which is really awesome. And that's what we need to do. We need to push our kids. So we commend you on that. But just again, some things that we need to make sure that we're just intentionally planning for when we're in our lessons. And the last part I'd like to talk about here is just our engagement. These are the 4 C's, and you can kind of really see we do struggle with some of these. The critical thinking in the last graph you can't see there is communication. Those are usually our highest too, and even those we could definitely use some improvement on. When we do go into the classroom, we don't always see it as much as we would like to. So I did not do a bar graph for this one. It was a little more complicated. I didn't have time to do that. But you can see this is just kind of our quarter summary of how things went across the quarter with what we see and what we don't see. Really need to work on giving our kids some opportunities to be collaborative and to be creative in their thinking and their problem solving. I think that one's probably the hardest one for us to do sometimes. But something that we need to work on, and we'll definitely address it with some of our professional development moving forward. Having said all that, I think we've made some progress. I think you guys are doing a good job. You're working hard. I know we've done some training, and I think some of the benefits of our training are starting to reveal themselves when we do our walkthroughs. So I would commend you guys on the efforts that you're making. I know that we've got a lot of people kind of stepping outside the box, and adding things to their toolbox and their repertoire that they may not have been doing before. So I appreciate that effort, no matter how great or small, because that's how we make change, one small step at a time. So keep grinding, keep it up. If you guys need some support, reach out. All the admin team's glad to help you. Seleni's glad to help as well. She's here. Miss Gibson is here on campus a few days a week. So reach out if you need some support, if you need some help, and we'll be seeing you guys out there. Have a great week.